road was closed, so we got a nice long detour back the way we've come.
Broken his leg, might curtail the end of this trip, I think. Well folks, hi there, welcome back to day 3 of our wild Welsh weekend. We're having such a great time already, and I've just kicking my morning off checking out underneath the vehicle, making sure everything is as it should be, making sure nothing's falling off. Tank guards, if you haven't seen episode 2, hop back and check that out. Also checking things like, you know, oil level and such, making sure we've got no leaks or anything. So had a crawl underneath, no sign of anything, check levels, we're all good. It's really early still, so it's going to be a while before the others join me and we can get started. But yeah, I've headed off the mountain this morning after a beautiful night camping, and I'm just really keen to get going. We're going to do water break its neck, a couple of other lanes, really keen on it. Let's get sorted, let's get started. At some stage I do plan to do a sort of full review of this unit. It's an Xtrons unit. I bought it purely so that I could run Spotify and OS Maps, and I must say it is absolutely brilliant. I mean, I love navigating off OS Maps anyway, and when I'm driving I just find this so much easier than things like Google Maps, for example. Yeah, I really love that I can use an OS map basically as a sat nav. You can plot your route on there and away you go. So just come up this morning to our meeting point. We were going to be meeting down by the lake here, but just sent everyone a message saying that we're actually best to bimble up and meet at this next little road junction here, because that turned out not to be quite as quiet a stretch of road as I thought it was. So glad I drove up here this morning. As you can see from the time there, it is 6:52 AM. They're not going to arrive till, well, about 9:30, 9:45. I reckon I'll have a coffee.
Well, a couple of hours later, and after I'd drunk my body weight in coffee again, the others turned up and we got going on the lanes. We actually had a whole load of bikers set off just ahead of us, and I must say, once we got going, it was very much straight into the lane. Quite a steep uphill track on quite loose, gravelly, rocky ground. Really quite an interesting lane, very different to the sort of thing we have down in Wiltshire, where I'm from.
Well, plans have changed quite dramatically since getting on this lane. We've just come up the first hill. Gary and Claire are brewing up, and Matt is no longer with us. He's gone down the bottom of the hill, taking a injured motorcyclist who's broken his leg, and their whole convoy's followed down, but they needed a 4x4 to extract him. It sounded like it would have been quite an ordeal if we hadn't turned up when we did, because they either would have been sat around waiting for the air ambulance or for a mountain rescue Land Rover to come up and pick them up, because the hill we've come up is really quite severe. I think I've got a little bit of footage of it, but I probably won't show it to its fullest extent. All he did was just catch his foot on the edge of the rut here, and it just twisted his leg right round, snapped the bone. So yeah, he was fairly calm about it all, but evidently in a fair amount of pain. He's a tough old bloke, but he's feeling it for sure. So Matt's taking him down the bottom. Might curtail the end of this trip, I think, as we will get through a couple more lanes, but I don't think we'll have time for the full day. Matt's also got a split in his sidewall. This could be turning out to get quite interesting for our last day in Wales, and not in a way that any of us really wanted. So if you're the fellow who's fallen off his bike, done his leg in, I obviously wish you all the best for your recovery, mate, and all the rest of your convoy. I hope that your day works out for the best.
They got the injured motorcyclist down to the road, where they then later met with the paramedics, who actually did turn up initially in a 110 Defender with an ambulance style back to it, but that rear ambulance canopy was so big, it's probably for the best they didn't try and get up the lane we'd been on, because although they would have been able to drive it, I think that canopy would have taken a fair old beating on the entrance to the lane, which was quite overhanging with the low branches. Matt was down there for quite a time with them whilst the paramedics assessed the gentleman who'd been injured, and they obviously then took that guy off in the ambulance. So Matt came up and joined us, and after a short break for a coffee, we got back on the lane.
Come on, Claire. What are you playing at? In the mud you go. Don't think Claire likes the mud. Go on, get stuck in, Claire. Spot on.
Navigational error. Now we're heading back.
Well, lunch is done. We're just on to Water Break Its Neck now. Matt's still leading us, but Gary's going to take over when we get to the bottom of that. He's done it before, although I think he's done it the opposite direction. So we'll see how we get on. It should be a nice scenic drive up there, I think. I've heard really good things about it. Looking forward to seeing what it's like.
Well, there you go. That's the truth about going laning, eh? Gary did point out that whilst we were at the bottom of Water Break Its Neck, it would be rude not to go and look at the waterfall that the area is actually named after. So we went strolling down on the path there, through the trees, really beautiful spot, to go and look at the waterfall. Well, it wasn't quite as spectacular as I think Gary was remembering it to be. Obviously we'd gone there in some very warm weather, so it was just a wee trickle down there. Well, I tell you what, it's been really quiet on all the lanes. I think that convoy of bikes passing us there was about the biggest convoy of bikes we'd seen, other than the one earlier in the day where we'd come across the injured motorcyclist. Yeah, we only saw one 4x4 in the whole weekend, I think, out on the lanes, and then just a couple groups of bikes trundling around enjoying themselves.
So we're doing Water Break Its Neck, really scenic. I'm now at the back of the convoy, so I've got loads of gates. But worryingly, Gary's vehicle has started overheating, so we'll see. Might be nothing, might be something a little bit more to it. Gary's little overheating blip seems to have disappeared. He had a moment of it thinking it was getting a bit too hot, and then she seems to have cooled off after a moment of just sitting. So we're plodding on. The rain is just about starting to come in. It'll be the first rain of the weekend, and yeah,
it's just about starting. Really light. We're halfway along water break its neck now, so I don't think we've got too much further to go until the very end of the day. I think we've got 9 kilometers left according to the old OS map I've got down here. It's really nice having the OS on the sat nav. Or as a sat nav, because what it does is, through playing it through the Xtrons, you can plot your route and just follow it in real time. Really convenient. And you know, if you're used to reading OS maps, which obviously I am through all the walking and everything else that I do, as well as all the green laning and other driving bits, it's just the ultimate sat nav. Really, it's got so much detail in there. Really great tool to have at your disposal. Right. Gate 10,001 to keep the little walking clouds at bay, make sure they don't get all mixed up. Just thought it was so hard to close the gate. There we are. Well, at least we're not a bad looking convoy, eh? Now how's that for a view? Yeah, here comes the rain now, just coming in from the northeast and just sweeping across as we continue along water break its neck. 7.4k left of the day. God, it's been a great weekend this. So thrilled with it. Just finished up the very last lane of our Welsh leg of the trip. If you're not in the Freelander 2 off-road group, then do of course go ahead and join that. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We've certainly enjoyed the trip, and I've enjoyed making this video for you all. So do give it a thumbs up, you know, like down below, comment if you've got questions or you know, feedback on the video. And equally, yeah, if you're interested in this kind of stuff and other outdoor and adventurous activities, then yeah, why not subscribe too? But I've been Joel, Outdoor Instructor. Thank you so much for watching, and ta-ra!